All right. This is Health, Chapter 10, discussion through the chapter. Chapter 10, Nutrition. We're going to quickly go through the book in a lecture so you guys can follow along with me. And I'm going to present my screen here and we'll get started. Okay. Chapter 10, Nutrition. So what's the importance of nutrition? Well, there's some key words that you have to be looking for is nutrition, nutrients, calorie, hunger, and appetite. So the real question is, why does nutrition matter? Well, nutrition is the process by which your body takes in and uses fuel, and nutrients is the substance in the food that your body needs to grow and repair itself and supply it with energy. And then a calorie is the unit of heat used to measure the energy your body uses and energy it receives from food. We look at calories and how much calories food has, and we're always looking for what's called nutrient-dense food so that the calories you take in also have nutrients to help your body function. Many times we want to know, why do we eat? Well, the reason why we eat is either we're hungry, right? Our stomach is empty and we physically want to have something in our stomach to be able to continue to have energy. Or it's the psychological desire, your appetite for food. Now, most of the time when people say they're hungry, they really aren't hungry. They are wanting a certain type of food. They're just craving a food. And because how many times have you said you were hungry to your parents and they said, okay, well, I'll fix you X, Y, and Z. And you kind of look at them and go, well, I really didn't want X, Y, and Z. I really want A, B, C. And and then your parents say, well, if you're hungry, if you're really hungry, you would eat it. I guess you're not really hungry. And that's where we're talking about. It's like, are you really talking about hunger or are you talking about appetite? So keep that in mind that there's a difference. So food and emotion. I mean, I'm guilty of this all the time where I am bored and I'm eating, or I'm stressed and I'm eating, or I'm depressed and I'm eating, or I'm happy and I'm eating. A lot of people eat when they're sad or when they're happy. There's emotion. Food and emotion go hand in hand. Think about all the different things like we celebrate with food. Like I have a birthday cake. We had a anniversary, so we went out to dinner, so a nice dinner. You did a great job on a project, or you got all A's, straight A's. You go to get your favorite meal or an ice cream cone. These are all things that we reward ourselves with food, and sometimes that can be dangerous. We use food as a way to deal with stress. So if you're stressed at school because you have a lot of work do it all at one time, you may be eating chips or candy or ice cream. Those are all things that people do to try to maybe deal with the stress and manage it. And that's important to realize that why you eat. Also, the type of food is available where you're from. Your family and your culture eats most meals at home. This will influence why you eat. You prefer certain foods because your family culture influences. I love Polish sausage because when I went to my grandma's house, there's always Polish sausage on the table and sauerkraut because we're Polish. There's people out there that love certain types of food because their grandmother or their mother or father or uncle would always make it on special occasions. Friends, what do you do when you're with your friends? Do you just sit and play video games, or are you snacking? Are you going to out to dinner with someone? Well, before COVID, but are you going out to dinner with somebody? Are you hanging out and getting a cup of coffee? Are you going out to get an ice cream cone? What are you guys doing to hang out? How are you passing the time? And so just realize that like that influences how you eat as well. And then also how much money you have and how much time you have. Those are factors too. Like if you don't have time to go home and cook a home cooked meal, what are you going to do? You're going to go get something through the drive-through. And then advertising makes all the difference. There's marketing teams that are paid millions upon millions of dollars and spend billions of dollars on advertising to affect your appetite and make you want the foods that they're putting on the television, the movies, and the radio, and the billboards and magazines and what have you. So make sure that you do the lesson 1 assignment if you haven't done that already, and 1 through 3. Lesson 2, nutrients. All right. What are the importance of nutrients? Well, there's 6 types of nutrients. And these types are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that provide energy. And the other 3 are vitamins, minerals, and water. These are all essential for you to be able to survive as a human being. The ones that provide energy are the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. They all have calories, and they're used to build and repair and fuel the body. Carbohydrates can be found in lots of different types of foods, sugars, potatoes, cereal, wheat, corn, other types of starches, root vegetables like potatoes, like I said before. These are all types of things that you'll find carbohydrates in. If you need energy, you need carbohydrates. Fiber is also part of carbohydrates. It helps you move through the food through the digestive system. And there's some examples right there of carbohydrates. The role of carbohydrates is to break it down in the simplest form. Carbohydrates you consume are turned into a simple sugar called glucose, which then a main source of fuel for your body's tissues. Glucose can be stored in your body's tissues and used later during intensive activity. Although the body cannot digest fiber, it plays a still important role of aiding digestion and reducing the risk of disease. So remember that. Proteins, there's all sorts of types of proteins, but proteins have what we call there's 20 amino acids that are found in foods. You produce and synthesize all but 9 of these amino acids. These 9 are called essential amino acids because the body must get them from food. The rest are known as non-essential amino acids. Those 9 can be found in most animal products and also non-animal products as well. So, for example, like you can find them in milk, eggs, yogurt, meat. Also, not plant-based foods such as grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. The role of protein is basic material of the body, builds cells and muscles and helps you essentially rebuild your muscles after you've broken them down from days of activity. All right. Then there's fats. There's 3 types of fats, main fats. There's unsaturated fat, which comes from is a liquid in room temperature, and it's that comes from oils, nuts, and seeds, and they tend to be healthier for you than, say, saturated and trans fats. Saturated fats come from animal products, such as like bacon, for example. But there are like things like palm and coconut and palm kernel oil that will also be considered saturated fats because they are a solid at room temperature. And these increase your risk of heart disease when you consume them. Trans fats are like margarine, for example, is one of the more dangerous ones because they have a lot of chemicals in there, and they are been linked to having problems with heart disease. So increase of heart disease and higher levels of cholesterol. So you need fats. You can't just cut out fats altogether. You have to have fats because you will protect your. It's the insulation for your cells and your organs. But if you have too much fat and that you consume, it can lead to unhealthy weight gain and obesity. Now, cholesterol is what's called a waxy fat-like substance in your blood, and it's needed to create cell walls and certain hormones and vitamin D. However, excess cholesterol in your body can build up inside your arteries and raises the risk for heart disease. Trans fats behaves like saturated fats and promotes cholesterol buildup in your arteries. So remember, the thing that you want to eat most of is unsaturated fats, like olive oil or vegetable oil. So then there's three other types of nutrients, which is vitamins, minerals, and water. These are necessary to carry out body functions. Remember that there's two types of vitamins. There's the water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamins are a compound found in food that help regulate many body processes. And it's important to realize that all these vitamins help you stay well, fight off disease, fight off viruses and bacteria, and boost your immune system, help you with your eyesight, improve and keep you healthy and keep your organs working correctly. There's minerals as well, are elements that are found in food that are used by the body that cannot be, because your body cannot produce these minerals, and you must get them from food. And here's some vitamins and minerals right here. You can look at the book if you like. And like things like calcium, iron, potassium, those are all important things that you can get, that you need to have in your body to prevent certain diseases like iron deficiencies, cramping, for example, or even osteoporosis. And you need calcium and what have you to build your bones. And then water is important too, because it helps so many different things, such as moving food through your digestive system, digesting carbohydrates, transporting nutrients, storing and releasing heat, cooling your body, cushioning your eyes and brains and spinal cord, and lubricants for your joints. If you don't drink enough water, there's a lot of health risks and problems that you end up having because of the lack of water in your diet. So they say you should have approximately 9. It says here, teen girls need about 9 cups of fluid a day, and teen boys need about 13 cups each day. So about 20% of your daily water intake comes from food you eat, since all foods contain some water. So it's important to drink when you're thirsty. Drink water when you're thirsty so that you can stay hydrated and healthy. All right, make sure you do 1 through 3 in lesson 2. Healthy food guidelines, section 3. So it's important that we are looking at dietary guidelines for America, or set recommendations about smart eating and physical activity for all Americans. They set that make smart food choices from every food group, find your balance between food and activity, get most nutrition out of your calories like nutrient-dense food. So making smart choices is basically deciding that you're going to go from all 5 food groups, which is foods, fruits, grains, vegetables, and proteins, and dairy, and having a little bit of everything on your plate for every meal. Not having too much of one thing is important. So a lot of people will load up on the carbohydrates because that's the most tasty, or the protein. But it's important to have approximately half your plate with fruits and vegetables, and the other half with grains and protein, and then dairy to go along with it, like a glass of milk, for example. So make sure that you're varying your vegetables. You don't want to have all the same vegetables, but it's important that you eat vegetables that are dark and green, such as broccoli, kale, spinach, and also orange vegetables such as carrots, pumpkins, winter squash. These having a good mix of vegetables so you get the right mix of vitamins and minerals is very important. Getting your calcium is important to develop your bones, and making half your grains whole grains so that they don't burn too quickly and you have basically like a sugar rush. Making sure that your protein has low fat, like you know, poultry or fish. Grilling it and baking it and broiling it can help eliminate a lot of the fat. And you also can get proteins from things like beans, peas, nuts, and seeds as well. Try to limit a lot of the high fat, especially saturated fats and trans fats, the salt, the sugars, the sweet snacks, and making sure that you have activity every day so that you burn those calories. So even though you may eat right amount mixed and healthy foods, you still may be overweight. If you're not getting enough physical activity, then they recommend that you have about 60 minutes of activity every day to avoid unhealthy weight gain. Excuse me. So getting the most nutrition out of your calories, that's called nutrient-dense food. Now, nutrient-dense food, it has a high ratio of nutrients to calories, such as like broccoli, for example, or carrots. Those are things that are high in nutrient-dense food. But like things like potato chips and candy and soda are not. It's really important to make those choices so that you are using your calories wisely and getting the energy and nutrition that you need to be able to function and feel good. Developing healthy eating patterns is also an important thing, because like if you have a pattern of going to the gas station and grabbing a Twinkie and a soda for breakfast instead of possibly having some eggs, a yogurt, maybe a English muffin, or something else that is some fruit before the day, and maybe a glass of water, then you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball, because you're going to rely on those habits later on in life. And maybe you don't gain weight when you're 16 years old and you have a high metabolism, but eventually your metabolism does slow down and you start storing that excess glucose into fat, and then possibly develop things like high blood pressure, diabetes type 2, and possibly heart disease. So making sure you have the right, starting off your day right, and making sure that you have the right habits is important. Having enough sleep, having food in the refrigerator or in your pantry that is healthy, and that you will be able to successfully create good habits. So cooking the night before, packing your lunch the night before, making your breakfast, or having easy things for breakfast that are healthy, super important. Also, snacking is important too, because like you guys teenagers typically are very hungry, and having the right type of snacks is so important. So like fresh fruit, cut up vegetables such as celery, carrot sticks, string cheese, unsalted nuts, air pop popcorn, fat-free yogurt, or breadsticks are super important to keep in mind, that that you can stay using healthy habits. Going out to eat is also very difficult when you're a young person, because it's so easy to eat everything in sight. You ordering things that'll fill you up because you get a lot of them. Now, just because they put it in front of you doesn't mean you have to eat it. So a lot of people that are trying to watch what they eat, they'll take that portion and cut it in half, and then save half of it to go for maybe tomorrow's lunch or dinner, and then eat the other half at their table. Making sure that like you're eating food that's not just deep fried, or making sure that you order the mixed vegetables instead of those French fries. And also, like, instead of ordering the French fries that are fully loaded with chili and cheese and sour cream, eating the baked potato with lighter toppings or something along those lines. And it's so easy to drink your calories when you're out to dinner. the waitress or waiter keeps filling up your soda or your tea or your iced tea or your sweet tea or your juice, your fruit punch or your lemonade. These are all calorie high drinks with very little nutrients to go along with them. And people will drink 500 calories of soda at possibly in one sitting, which is very dangerous habit to get into. Remember to do lesson 3, 1 through 3. All right. Lesson 4, nutrition, labels, and food safety. It's important to be able to understand and read the food products and how food is stored in the package, the name and address of the company that makes the packages or distributes the product, the ingredients in the food, the nutrition facts. These are all important things. Looking at the ingredients list, if you see a high fructose corn syrup as one of the main ingredients, then it's not good for you. It's just that simple. And there's a lot of other ingredients that are made out of corn or sugar that and preservatives that you want to see not a lot of ingredients, but very few ingredients. Additives is another thing. Substitutes or things that are fat substitutes that possibly could make things taste good, but are not good for you is also very important to be looking for as well. Now, nutrition claims, they say like free, like fat-free, sugar-free, what have you. That doesn't always mean free. It just means that they have fewer than 5 calories per serving. And then they also you can eat this food regularly without exceeding the daily limits of your fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, sodium, what have you. Low-fat foods, for instance, must have 3 grams or less of fat per serving. So you still gain fat. And then a light means a food label is light, must contain 1/3 of few calories, 1/2 of the fat, or 1/2 of the sodium of the original version, which still means that you could have a lot of whatever it is. It just means that it's lighter, not like it. Reduced means that food contains 25% fewer calories or 25% less of the given nutrition. This means they could have a lot of calories. These are all, and like the list goes on. Remember that whenever they have these claims that they have a certain range, but doesn't mean that they are. It could be very misleading. And here's a label that you can type a label. You can look that over in your book or in the note, the chapter that I gave you. All right. So organic foods, you can claim that USDA organic food is the food label as organic is produced without the use of certain agricultural chemicals such as synthetic fertilizers or pesticides, as well as not contain synthetic fertilizers or pesticides. These foods cannot contain genetically modified ingredients to be subjected to certain types of radiation. The USDA organic label makes no claims, however, that the organic foods are safer or more nutritious than conventionally grown foods. So it's important to realize that organic foods are a lot of times a little safer as far as like the types of chemicals in there, but that doesn't mean that they're better for you. Like if you drink high fat milk, either organic or not organic, you're still drinking high fat milk. If you eat a bunch of eggs that are, organic cage free eggs, you're still eating eggs, and eggs have a lot of fat in them. So you have to just be aware that just because it says organic doesn't mean it's completely, there's not risk that you take when you eat those foods. Open dates, sell by dates, use by dates, freshness dates, package dates. These are all important when actually buying things at the store. Make sure you check those labels before you actually purchase them, because there's a possibility that you may be buying something that's going to expire the next day. So just be aware of what you're buying, how fresh it is, and whether or not it's going to spoil within the week that you buy it. Food safety, there's a lot of illnesses out there that result in the food poisoning. For example, like E. coli or Salmonella are big ones that people tend to get when there is food poisoning, and that could actually shut down your kidneys and kill you. Oftentimes, it just results in you having to go to the bathroom or throw up a lot more than you're used to. We already talked about that. A lot of times, if you get an illness, you get a high degree of fever. It seems like you have a virus. It could cause blood in the stool. Signs of dehydration includes decrease in urination, dry mouth. So you could go. This is how people die: is that their kidneys start shutting down, and because they're not getting enough water in their diet. So keeping your food safe to eat and avoiding E. coli and what have you. There's things that are pasteurized, treating substances with heat to kill slow growth of pathogens. That's you keep them separate before you cook them, and you keep them chilled while in the refrigerator. Make sure that anytime that you touch chicken and you put it in the pan, you go and wash your hands again. Don't cross contaminate, and use the same spatula that you flip the chicken as you're stirring your vegetables, because there could be salmonella or possibly E. coli if you're cross contaminating. That's important to also understand that keeping food separate, like seafood and eggs, to avoid cross contamination. Using different cutting boards, using different pans. Making sure that you are cleaning your areas after they've been on there, using disinfectant and soap and what have you. Make sure you wash your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds every time that you feel like you touched raw meat anytime. Also, cooking it to the right temperature. Now, using a meat thermometer is very smart way to judge whether or not the food is the correct temperature and is safe to eat. Making sure that you chill the food when you get it home from the grocery store, so it doesn't develop, it doesn't breed bacteria. And then, like I said before, cooking it to a thorough, and this is the temperature gauge, like 180 degrees for whole poultry, 170 for poultry breasts, 165 for like ground, leftovers, meats, what have you. 160, also 145 for steak, 140 for keep foods keep foods hot, that temperature, refrigerate at 40 degrees, and freeze at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So food sensitivity, there's in food allergies and food intolerances. So like an allergy, for example, is like a lot of people are allergic to nuts or legumes like peanut butter, or strawberries, shellfish, what have you. Intolerance is a negative reaction to food that doesn't involve the immune system. So for example, a lot of people are lactose intolerant, which means that like they're not allergic to milk by any means. They are intolerant, which means that they get gassy. They may get very have belches or have to go to the bathroom very quickly. And it's very important to realize that there's a difference.
Amy Reich, will you please call Patty in the main office? Amy Reich, call Patty. Thank you.
Sorry about that. A little announcement on the intercom. Make sure you do lesson 4, and then also the review that goes along with here. And that's the end of chapter 10. So the main thing about nutrition is that moderation. If you don't have moderation and consistently built into your diet, meaning that like you get a healthy balance of foods, you're not going to be healthy. That's just how it is. Now, am I saying that I don't eat any foods that could be bad for me? Of course not. But the thing that people oftentimes don't realize is that you can't just eat one type of food all the time. You have to have variation, and you have to have a moderation, which means that you can't have just eat chicken every day. You can't just eat fish every day. You can't just eat carrots every day. You have to have different types of food to get the different types of minerals and vitamins and from that food. And that's important to boost your immune system. That's important to build your body strong and prevent from long-term diseases such as heart disease or obesity, or even like things like osteoporosis or iron deficiency and things of that nature. So that's it from chapter 10. Thanks for watching, and I'll stop recording now.